Hi, welcome back. My name is Kami. For those who don't know, also known as Kami the Carrot. And right now, this is probably going to be a lot of cap sounding to a lot of people, but work with me here. This is going to be a bunch of hot takes, honestly. Feel free to roast me or let me know your hot takes in the comments down below. But for today's video, we're going to be talking about the top 5 limited banner units I regret pulling for. Oh, this will be interesting to talk about. So the criteria for this is 1, they had to be the limited banners. We cannot talk about the 1 or less 5 stars. I know a lot of people would really easily like to shove it off on a couple of them, but we're not doing that. We had to make it harder. So we're choosing the limited banner. And they all have to be 5-star. No 4 stars that we're mad about. Maybe another video in the future. But for now, the 5 stars. Okay, well, that's enough delaying the inevitable, huh? Well, first on the list, number 5, Klee. I regret pulling for Klee now. I have been playing this game since launch, or if you want to be literal, about 6 days after launch. And Klee is adorable. My Klee in particular is C2. She's good for supporting purposes. But I barely use her. I barely have any reason at all to use her. And in today's comps, even though I can do all of the frame skips and I can do all of the hoppings and all of the animation cancels, her DPS, at least mine, doesn't really keep up or compare to the likes of Hu Tao or even Yoimiya in terms of pyro DPS. I can't use my D-Luke in this situation. He's C6, so he's a bit of an outlier. But yeah, no, honestly, her supporting capabilities only becomes more and more viable the more constellations you have. Other than that, it's not like there's all too much going for her. I mean, granted, maybe my opinion would completely change if Venti got a buff to his ult and actually moved Klee bombs. Maybe that opinion would change and that would be a completely new comp idea. Who knows? Mihoyo. Mihoyo. Your move. Anyway. Moving on to number 4. Number 4, we have Sangonomiya Kokomi. So, Sangonomiya Kokomi, or as I used to call her, 5-star Barbara. Let's get it out the way. Yep, cock. Yep, we already knew it. We already knew it. Let's all be rational here. Anyway, so she is number 4 on the list. Now, I regret pulling for her, or I did. It's a very interesting relationship. Like, I regret pulling for her, but there's enough copium around, enough cocopium to go around, if you will, for me to definitely be okay with it now. Okay? It's better. It's better. I still regret pulling for her more than I do Klee, because Klee I can at least use for some DPS showcases, or damage per screenshot, if you will. For Kokomi, if it wasn't for Shinha, running her with Thrilling Tales, and her being a decent hydro applicator with especially added extra damage from the 4-piece clam set, she would be awful. She would be. I mean, like, honestly, she would be almost no different than Barbara, in my personal opinion. Now, granted, she does do some damage, okay? And the more you scale into her, because she wants healing bonus and she wants HP. The more you scale into her, the better she'll do. Also, the more you wail into her, the better she'll do. Minus C0. And I still use her. I will use her in comps. You know, technically, I guess I could have had her at number 5, because at least I still use her in comps. Like, I'm using her in comps right now compared to Klee. So who knows? technically, I guess you can argue that she would be the number 5 then. And I'm okay with that, as long as they're both there anyway. It doesn't make much a difference to me in particular. Maybe I should redact and say that it's not in any particular order. But nah, we're gonna keep the trend going. Because the other ones I'm pretty darn serious about. Okay, enough about her now. We know that she's a lot better now, and thanks to buffs, indirect buffs, that she is a lot more valuable now. Okay, so we know that. We know that. I know that. But out of all of these limited 5-star units, I still have to pick 5 that I regret pulling for. So, don't blame me. Tell me Hoyo to release worse 5-stars. I'm joking. Do not tell them to do that. Do not release worse 5-star units. Alright. Moving on. Number 3, Algodo. So, funny enough, Algodo is getting a lot more love now. Thanks to his new weapon, new artifacts, running with Ito. Especially my Ito. We don't talk about that. But that's it. He's just an additive. He does good extra off-field damage. Stop that. Not a gigawatt. Stop that. Stop it. See. But unfortunately, he just doesn't really sound like he's not what's the phrasing I'm looking for? Honestly, he's not the last piece of the puzzle for anyone's team, if you get what I'm saying. Now, he's a good off-field damaging unit, okay? He's still a good DPS support, okay? And mine's C2, okay? However, that being said, you never go out of your way to use him. He's the unit you forget about all the time. And if it wasn't for Dragonspine coming back and, Geo Supremacy walking the planet again, honestly, he would have been forgotten and gathering more dust in the box. I am not going to lie to you. In terms of use, I would say I use Kokomi more. I use Kokomi way more than pretty much all the units in this list. And then it would be Klee. Then it would be Algodo. And then the other two had an interesting tug-of-wars fight for the number 1 spot. So this is going to be interesting, I'm sure. And if you are clicking on this video and you're still watching it right now and you're just waiting to see where a certain somebody who might have been used as clickbait got placed, well, look no further. It'll be up shortly, don't worry. Okay, number 2 on this list for units I regret pulling for is Tartaglia. Yeah, good old child, huh? So the thing was, I actually enjoyed him quite a bit when I first summoned for him. But that E cooldown is something, huh? Now, granted, if you play with correct gameplay, and you only use him for 3-second burst rotations, maximum rotation length of 9 seconds, optimize him and run him with a Kazuha, Shunling in a minute, does a lot of damage. A whole lot of damage. He is the fastest Hydro enabler in the game. There's no debating that. I can do it just fine. It's not a mechanics issue. I promise. I just don't like it. It's fine, but it's not fine. It's copious, and we all know it. I'm not a fan of not being able to go swish, 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 swish with the blades however long I want. And the only way to do that is by C6ing him, which I refuse to do so because his constellations suck. They are terrible. His constellations are atrocious. I despise them. They're so bad. They don't even do anything. Like, C1 makes you feel like it's something, but 20% isn't going to be jack at all when it comes down to 40-second cooldowns. And then it becomes null and void anyway once you get C6, because there is no cooldown. If you ult while in melee stance, you just get to stay blade mode. There's no cooldown, so there's no point to the first constellation then. The second constellation Sucks. Get some energy. Woo. Third, fifth, we already know the deal with that. C4, honestly, is atrocious in my personal opinion. Like, yes, you get some additive extra hydro damage. Congratulations. But at the same time, you also get random ticks of hydro, which severely messes up the vaporize. Kind of pointless. Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. Do not care for it too much. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I feel like if they re-released Tartaglia with today's characters in mind, I feel like his kit would be a lot more attractive, in my opinion. I'm sure there's still a ton of people that are upset about this. All the Tartaglia havers and or wanters. I don't know how many wanters there are left. He has had 3 banners. I really don't know how many people still want him. But for those who do want him, he is still really good, okay? All of these units that I am listing off are good in their own unique way, okay? They are all good in their own unique way, and it is okay to state one's opinion. That being said, I don't like him. I really don't. I'd prefer Mono over this any day. And last but not least, coming at number 1, Xiao. Oh boy, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this. Oh well. So, as you can see, I am not the biggest Xiao fan. And I am a Xiao haver. I know. But, for those who are going to be watching this from YouTube, you saw the thumbnail. You know what you clicked on. I can say I'm sorry, but I might not mean it. That being said, let's dive into it. So I have a C2 Xiao. Xiao's good DPS. Okay, let's start off with a positive, right? Xiao's good DPS. Xiao is innately selfish in play. He generates no energy or particles for himself or his teammates. He needs very specific units to adequately run him and sufficiently do a good amount of damage consistently, especially if you want him to keep ulting nonstop. And I know a lot of people want to argue, but he's amazing at C6, right? Because C6 is fantastic. I get it. He hits more than one person. He resets E. He goes, gotta go fast, gotta go fast, gotta go faster, faster. I get it. I do. I really do. The problem with that is that once you use him against one particular enemy, then that constellation becomes null and void and useless. Plus, the hell is this? What the hell is this? What is this? Oh no! My thoughts exactly. Not quite though. Want to try again? Bruh. Perfect. Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking. No, there's absolutely no point to this constellation. I despise it so much. Oh dearie. But if you wanted a unit who could do similar things to Xiao, do more DPS, in my personal opinion. Everyone has their own opinion. And it doesn't matter whether it's single target or multi-target. Then I would go for Ito, personally. Ito is definitely the go-to unit between the two for C6. And they're both neutral typing, one being Animo, one being Geo. And honestly, I get way more worth and value out of him, personally. Now, someone might call cap upon me, and you can do that whatever you want just because I don't have a C6 Xiao. That's fine. Majority of the other people who also love Xiao so much also don't have a C6 Xiao, in my respective opinion. That being said, I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just trying to state my opinion, if you don't mind. Xiao still does good damage, okay? He's a good unit. English hard. He's a good unit. Okay, he really is. He's a good unit. He's fun to use in the open world. Dash mobility. I get it. For me personally, I would just stick with Kazuha for mobility. But I get it. The dash dash is fun, right? But that being said, I don't like not being able to use certain units. I like teams with flexibility, which sounds ironic. It really does when I run Ito and Ito has to have at least Goro with him. I'm aware. I am aware. But Xiao does need, in most situations, if you, in other situations, sure, he doesn't, right? But from what I've seen, Xiao does need his battery. He does need batteries really bad. A lot of people like to pair him up with Sucrose, which generates a ton of battery particles for him, which is really good. Personally, when I was running Xiao back in the day, I would do it with Favonius Gene. Favonius Gene actually got the job done exceptionally well and very fast as well. I didn't have any difficulty with that whatsoever. That being said, though, depending on like what else you're running, it kind of just limits what you're doing. Like, yeah, you can run Bennett, but if the argument was he's amazing once you run Bennett, that would apply to literally everything. In my personal opinion, Bennett's probably the greatest unit in this entire game. He makes everything work regardless. And yes, just because, why not? I just want to show. That's even with the C6 Bennett. Okay. Zero issues whatsoever. Bennett is an amazing unit. He's a must-have. But Xiao is not. A lot of the units are not must-haves. And honestly, this was probably harder than a lot of people would give me credit for, to think of units of the limited variety that I regret pulling for, because there's so many amazing units. And I'm sure everyone has their own opinion and their own different opinion, you know, and that's perfectly fine. I just wanted to come up here, spit my hot take, and then start discussions with people. I'm all for it. If you want to counter argue, or you want to tell me your top 5 units that you regret pulling for, then let me know in the comments down below. If you somehow made it through and you do like this video, please leave a like. If you don't, you can leave a dislike too. That's perfectly fine too. Leave a comment down below. If you want to talk about more Genshin related content, or you want to check me out on the stream for when I do variety or when I play other games or upload them. I upload Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. I stream at twitch.tv/KamiTheKieran. Make sure to click subscribe on my YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell. That way YouTube will get an update whenever I decide to drop something cursed or stupid on your line. But seriously, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I'll see you in the next one. Sayonara.